Hi there, Karen here. This is a layout I've created during International Scrapbooking Day. Well, it was going on over the whole weekend, and I decided that I would try and combine two challenges from two different Facebook groups on one layout. So the sketch challenge, as you see here, we had a choice of 4 sketches were from the Tiara Facebook group, and we could just select one of those sketches to do, and then the UK group, for the love of pretty paper, set this tic-tac-toe challenge, and I've circled there ink splatters, fussy cutting, and die cut or punches. So as you can see, I've picked out the sketch in the bottom left for Mercer Tiara's group, and the diagonal choices across the tic-tac-toe challenge for the UK group. And these are the 2 photographs I'm going to use. They are of myself and my 2 cousins when I visited them in Canada last year. They are actually sisters, although very different. And I wanted to scrapbook with these photographs. These were actually of our farewell pictures. And I wanted to use this beautiful paper from Maggie Holmes. It's called it's from the Chasing Dreams collection, and it's called Graceful. And I had the idea that I would use it as the backing layer under the photographs from the sketch. But I didn't want to lose all those beautiful flowers. I thought I might cut some of them out, so I will gut it a little bit later on. And then these 2 other pieces of paper, one is from my stash, the coral coloured one, and I can't remember what that's from, but this blue floral, I'd had it in mind for some time to use it with these photographs because it goes very well with my skirt. And that's also from Maggie Holmes' Chasing Dreams, and that one's called Graceful. Or is that the other one? No, that one's called Delicate. The other one's Graceful. So the sketch calls for 2 horizontal layers over the backing layer. So I'm just working out how I can use this as a backing without losing all the paper in the middle, because I wanted to make the most use of it I could. So I'm just lining it up here and drawing where I need to cut, so that I can, just checking how long it needs to be, make sure it will show. So I'm just sort of cutting out the middle of this paper and giving myself just a border to put onto under the layers of the other 2 papers. And you'll see in a moment I've made a slight mistake with this, but I will fix it. So I've just lay that on there, then I'll put the other papers back, and then you'll see my slight error there, that I've got a bit of a gap in the middle. So as I just cut a piece off, I soon fix that by just cutting that across. So you can't really tell once you put the other papers back on that there would have been a gap. There is a gap underneath. I've just got to trim off those other 2 layers to make it all fit. I'm just trying on the photographs, thinking where they might lay. I'm sticking fairly closely to the sketch, but the sketch calls for 2 square photographs, and although I cut these down a bit, I didn't want to cut them down quite that much, so I have kept them slightly bigger than they appear on the sketch. So now I'm just going to stick everything down once I've fiddled about with it a bit more. I'm just going to stick that little strip there. Just wanted to make sure it was in the right place before I committed to sticking it down. Right, so now I'm just going to stick that on straight away. Right, there we are. And then I'm going to ink the edges of these papers this time. I felt because there's quite a lot of blue on blue, just outlining wasn't really going to make enough of a distinction between the two layers. So this time I've taken a dark blue ink pad from a Ranger Distress ink, and I'm just outlining those two papers with the dark blue, which just gives them that edge, makes them stand out against the blue backing paper, particularly the one at the bottom, the blue one, which really needed something to pop it from the page. So now I'm trying out the photos again, making sure that, and I'm going to give them another backing, another blue paper, and we seem to all be wearing blue on this day, so blue is the colour for this layout, except where the coral colour just gives enough of a contrast so that it doesn't look too monochrome. I didn't want it completely monochrome, and so I've just picked that one page that just gives it a bit more interest as far as colour goes. So both pictures, luckily, go well with that blue paper. I think that's an Amy Tan paper that I had in my box of scraps that I'm using to back the photographs. Just doing a single layer of a single backing layer. I won't need any other backing because it will just get too busy. There's quite a lot of florals on this page, so it doesn't need any more patterns there. So now I'm doing the fussy cutting. As you might remember, on the tic-tac-toe, fussy cutting was one of the elements required. So I'm fussy cutting out these lovely roses from the bit that I'd cut away from the Maggie Holmes sheet. I had also cut out some clouds from another page. Don't end up using the clouds. I think they would have worked quite well, but I didn't end up using them in the end. I'm just cutting around these flowers. Once you cut the darker colour from behind, they're actually quite a light blue, but I really like them against the other blue paper. I thought it looked really, really lovely in the middle there with those. It just completed the layout. I really, really like that. Beautiful flowers they are. So I have also done my journaling I've typed it up on my laptop and printed it off and cut it into strips, because the sketch has strips of journaling in that area there. So I've taken them off. I haven't stuck them down. I was just seeing how they looked. But now I'm going to stick down my photographs. Now I've decided that that's the way around they're going to go, and I'm sticking in my flowers that I've fussy cut. I'm going to stick in that middle area between the two photographs. There we are. And then I shall stick the words. Am I sticking my words? Yes, I'm sticking my words down next. It's my journaling. It's just talking about that we were taking some farewell photos, and that what a lovely time we'd had together. And I've realised that I prefer to do. It says ink splatters is required on the tic-tac-toe, so I thought I'd do the ink splatters underneath the journaling. I nearly stuck them down, and I thought no, the ink splatters really should go down first, and then I'll put the journaling across the top of that. So I'm using two different inks. One is the watered down ink from sorry, I couldn't remember what it was called. It's a Dilutions ink, and it's London Blue, and I put some watered down ink in a bottle so that it was a bit paler. And the other one is the peach colour from Heidi Shine. Now I'm using a couple of punches, some butterfly punches, because that is also required on the tic-tac-toe, die cuts or punches. So I'm punching out some little butterflies there, which I'm going to scatter about the page. And they're using the Martha Stewart punches. So finally, I'm getting to stick down my journaling. It was a bittersweet day. We'd had a wonderful time, and it was lovely to get to know my cousins, because I'd not really seen them for some years when they visited many years ago. So it had been a lovely time, but it was quite sad to have to say goodbye and move on. And now I'm just sticking down my little butterflies. I always have to put something down the middle of a butterfly. If I punch out a butterfly, it has to have a little pearl or a little sparkle down the middle. So I'm picking out some coordinating pearls to stick down the middle of my butterflies there. So just little pale blue ones in the blue butterflies. And in the coral butterflies, there are some little just plain cream coloured pearls in the middle of there. So each of those are going to get the same treatment. And then I've picked out this font. It's a Hip Kit sticker, like a puffy alpha. It was an exclusive Hip Kit that we had some number of kits ago, I think probably October. But the colour worked really well with this page, so I'm picking out the letters for the word cousins, because they're my cousins, and that just seems appropriate. There we are, cousins, and just sticking down the little butterflies now. Just popping them about the page. It's quite a simple layout really, but it's always easy when you're following a sketch. You don't have to really think too much about where things are going to go. And the added interest of having to fit in the items from the tic-tac-toe just made it a little bit more interesting. And it was nice to have the opportunity to do one layout and enter it into an international challenge as well as our UK challenge at the same time. So I didn't create many layouts, so it was nice to have one layout do for two purposes, or to do for two challenges at the same time. There we are. I don't think there's anything else that's going to go on. I'm going to fiddle about trying to find the right spot for those butterflies. So thank you for joining me again for another one of my challenge layouts. I think there may be a couple more to come. I'm just reiterating that I managed to fit in the things from the tic-tac-toe, and that the sketch, you can see the sketch there, is what I followed. So thank you for joining me. Goodbye till next time.